The young man's hands trembled as he clutched the heavy bag of coins. Just hours ago, he had demanded his inheritance, essentially telling his father, "I wish you were dead." Now, he stood at the edge of his father's estate, the familiar fields stretching behind him. He didn't look back. The road ahead promised freedom, pleasure, and a life without rules. But the road away from the Father always leads to a far country. Jesus told this parable to a mixed crowd. Tax collectors and sinners drew near to hear him, but Pharisees and scribes muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." So Jesus painted a picture of a father with two sons. The younger one, impulsive and restless, asked for his share of the property. In that culture, it was a shocking request, a public dishonor. Yet the father, heartbroken, divided his living between them. The younger son gathered all he had and traveled to a distant country. There, he squandered his wealth in wild living. Wine flowed, laughter echoed in the night, and money slipped through his fingers like sand. He bought friends with his coins, but when the coins ran out, so did they. In a matter of months, he was alone, his pockets empty and his soul emptier still. Then a severe famine spread across that whole country. The land cracked under the sun, crops withered, and food became scarce. The young man began to be in need. He had no family, no friends, no resources. For the first time in his life, he knew what it meant to be hungry, not just for food, but for hope. He was a stranger in a starving land. Desperate, he hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him into his fields to feed pigs. For a Jewish man, this was the lowest of the low, unclean animals, a degrading job. Day after day, he poured slop into the troughs and watched the pigs eat. His stomach growled. He longed to fill his belly with the pods the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. One evening, as the sun set and the pigs settled, he came to his senses. He thought of his father's house, where even the hired servants had bread enough and to spare. He was here, dying of hunger. The memory of home cut through his pride. He realized his sin wasn't just against his father, but against heaven itself. He didn't deserve to be called a son anymore. He made a decision. He would return to his father and say, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants." With nothing but rags on his back and a rehearsed speech on his lips, he began the long journey home. Each step was heavy with shame, but also with a flicker of hope. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him. The old man had been watching that road every day, scanning the horizon for a familiar silhouette. And when he saw his son, ragged, thin, but alive, he was filled with compassion. He didn't wait for an apology. He didn't stand on dignity. He ran. In that culture, dignified men did not run, but this father ran to his boy. The father threw his arms around his son and kissed him. No words of reproach, no "I told you so." Just an embrace that said, "You are home." The son began his rehearsed confession. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But before he could finish, the father interrupted. He turned to his servants with urgent joy. "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." The father restored his son fully, the robe of honor, the ring of authority, the sandals of a free man. No probation, no penance, just grace. But the older brother was in the field. As he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. He called one of the servants and asked what was happening. When he learned his brother had returned and his father had killed the fattened calf, he became angry and refused to go in. His father came out and pleaded with him, but the older son's heart was hard. He could not see the miracle of grace. The father's words to the older son echo through the ages. "My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours." But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. The story ends there, hanging in the air. Will the older brother join the feast? Will we? The Father's heart is always for the lost, and his arms are always open. If you've wandered, come home. And if this story moved you, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear that they are loved. What did this story teach you? Share your answer in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to Echoes of the Covenant, and help this message reach someone who needs it.